Yes. Here comes. Look. This is another question paper. Can you see? Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Look at this. Show that there remains one-to-one correspondence between commodity price ratio and factor price ratio in the absence of factor intensity reversal. Okay? That means there is no factor intensity reversal. So very good. So in that case, you have to, very simple, you have to show the one-to-one relationship between Px by Py and W by R. We prove it. No? In the absence. So there is no issue of FIR. No? Just the one-to-one relationship between W by R and Px by P. Logically, you can prove it that much. 4 marks. Now look at this second part. Show that free trade may not lead to factor price equalization even in the absence of factor intensity reversal if factor price regions are non-overlapping. That means that diagram, can you remember? That simple diagram without factor intensity reversal, there are two downward sloping line, one is X, another for Y. But your L by K of two countries are very much deviated one from another. Okay, one is here, another is far away. So in that case, there is no overlapping zone. So if there is no overlapping zone, factor price equalization will not happen. I said it. Either both countries will go for complete specialization, or at least one country will go for complete specialization, and there will not be W by R star. That W by R star will not be same for both the countries, as there is no overlapping zone. So that you have to draw and explain properly. Now the last one, free trade may lead to factor price equalization even in the presence of factor intensity reversal, provided factor price regions are overlapping. That simple overlapping diagram. There is factor intensity reversal. There is factor intensity in the presence of factor. Look, here comes the factor intensity reversal. So you have to draw that factor intensity reversal diagram in your first quadrant. And there you have to draw two L by K ratios very close to each other so that there is overlapping zone. And once you have the overlapping zone, you know factor price equalization will happen. Okay. So 3 diagrams are needed for each of these questions. Okay.
Ma'am, here no mathematics is required. Only the diagram will do.
Yeah. No issue. No need of mathematics. You want to give? Okay, fine. Try. But just look at the number. It's only 4, 5, 6. So no need of mathematics. If you can explain logically and your diagram is okay, that will work. Okay. I don't know how to. Here. Okay. Do you agree with the view that Heckscher-Ohlin is an extension of the Ricardian theory of trade? 4 marks. Yes. Yes. I discussed those points today. Now, in the Ricardian model, there is one factor, it is of two factors. Ricardian is an extreme case, that is the complete specialization. Heckscher-Ohlin is showing incomplete specialization. So if you explain it properly, it's okay. It's 4 marks question. There are 2 points, you have to explain it and done. And now look at the next question. Yes. What are the components of gains in Heckscher-Ohlin model of trade? Heckscher-Ohlin model of trade gains. Okay, this is a specialization gain, production gain as well. Explain 2 situations where entire gains from trade is due to these components. That means, okay, fine. In case of if it is L-shaped social indifference, okay, in that case I have to draw the diagram. Yes, to give the answer of this question I need the diagram. I leave that diagram. Actually, I want to make it short, but it will not work. For this, to give the answer of this very first question 2A, you need that diagram. I didn't discuss that diagram, true. I will explain. Huh? I will give you that diagram so that you can give answer of this first question. What is the second question? Is there any contradiction between the factor proportion theory and the Leontief paradox? Obviously, there is contradiction. That is why there is paradox. So you have to, here actually you have to explain that Leontief paradox. In a trade model where the two factors, land and labor, are used for producing two commodities, food and cloth, analyze the effects of increase in amount of labor on the production of two commodities, land or labor ratio and relative prices of two commodities. Okay. Analyze the effect of an increase in amount of labor on the production of two commodities. Stolpa-Samuelson, they are asking about the Stolpa-Samuelson, they are asking about the relative price, that means the Ripsinski, Stolpa-Samuelson and the magnification effect. They're asking about all, but don't panic, you don't need to make the mathematics. Actually, the mathematics is, we did it, but mathematics is actually a part of your math eco paper. But here we only need the theorem, what the Stolpa-Samuelson theorem is saying, what the magnification effect is saying, and what the Ripsinski theory is saying. And given all those theorem, all those statements, you have to analyze the situation. That there are two commodities, food and cloth, two factors, land and labor. Say labor has increased, then what will happen with the food production and the cloth production? You can understand food is land intensive and clothing is labor intensive. Definitely. So this is how you have to explain the situation, that if there is an increase in amount of labor, and then clothing production will increase and food production will fall, right? And so the price of clothing will increase, price of food will fall. So this is how you have to, what can I say? You have to you have to use those theorem in this situation. Can you do this? First of all, you have to write what is Ripsinski theorem, what is Stolpa-Samuelson theorem. Ripsinski theorem is related with this, labor and the production of two commodities. Here comes the Ripsinski theorem. When the relative prices of two commodities are coming, this is related with the Stolpa-Samuelson theorem. And in between, this is land by labor ratio. Here comes the magnification effect. So first you have to explain what are those three. Then you have to apply all those three theorems or three conclusions in this situation. And I just given you that, I've just given you that answers, na? That food is assumed as a land intensive, cloth is assumed as a labor intensive. If increase in labor is there, that means cloth production will increase, food production will fall, price of clothing will increase, price of food will fall. Ripsinski and Stolpa-Samuelson are telling us this. Okay?
Could you repeat the answer, please? I'm only the
Yes, I'm saying
final.
only the
I'm only the final results. Can you repeat?
okay, only the final result. Look, your increase in amount of labor, this is given. So cloth production will increase, food production will fall, price of cloth will fall, price of food will increase. That much. And you know, land by labor, obviously that land by labor ratio will fall because your labor is increased with constant land. This is the magnification effect. Only three statements, and what is the implication of those in this situation? So 6 marks is okay for that. Don't try to mathematically derive the statements, and this is not required here.
Ma'am, price of clothing will fall here.
Yes, because you are increasing production of clothing. So definitely price of clothing will fall. So I'm going to the next one. Yeah. Suppose that everywhere cloth is produced using 30 hours of labor for each acre of land, and food is produced using 10 hours of labor per each acre of land. Fine. Suppose the economy's total resources are 600 hours of labor and 60 acres of land. Using a diagram, determine country's allocation of resources. Okay, that means you have to draw the PPC. What would happen if labor supply increases to 900 hours? Excuse me. What would happen if the labor supply increases to 900 hours? Definitely, it was initially 600 hours. Now it is 900 hours. So what will happen? Amount of um, clothing is labor intensive, okay? And food is land intensive again here. So when the labor supply has increased, then clothing production will increase. How much, that you have to calculate. Here it is the numerical question. So here you need the mathematics. They want particular value of the change of clothing production and the change of food production. Food production will definitely fall. Now look at question number C. Stolper-Samuelson theorem. State and explain. And don't confuse with the term explain. Explain doesn't mean you have to derive. First of all, you have to explain the Stolper-Samuelson theorem. What is the meaning of that? And then if px will increase, then what will happen? If there will be no change in py, then what will happen? We did in the class. So only that part will done here. How does a change in terms of, this is not the part of your, that we didn't discuss. Anything of welfare we didn't discuss yet. Okay. So I'm going to the next question. If the factor endowment ratio of two trading countries differ widely, free trade may not lead to factor price. Same question, same question. Okay, that L by K ratio of two countries, they are different widely. Then there is no overlapping zone, no factor price equalization. Actually, for factor price equalization, you must have overlapping zone. Otherwise, factor price equalization is impossible. Remember this. So this is the question. The question is also asking that. You have to draw a beautiful diagram, then explain it beautifully. The full marks is 6. Now the another question. Yes, this is from 2019, last year. Consider the following information on two countries, A and B, for a particular year. Hmm. Population is given. Capital stock per worker is also given. Don't confuse with those values. They are very much clumsy. Using the assumption that good X is labor intensive relative to good Y, which country will have a comparative advantage in production of X and Y? Can you tell me from this table? The table is in front of you. I will share these questions. For that, I have to make one file at first. I did that, but somehow it is not uploaded in my drive. I will upload it as a single file in my drive, and then I will share it with your LMS. Can you tell me the answer of the first part?
Country B.
Yes. Yes. Which country will have a comparative advantage in production of X? Now look at the second one. Define the trade triangle and signify the implications of three sides of the trade triangle. That means you have to just find out the three sides. What is measured on the horizontal axis, what is measured on the vertical axis, and all. Okay. Imagine an economy where consumers always buy goods in fixed proportions regardless of prices. That means they are perfectly complementary goods. Okay. Show that an improvement in terms of trade benefit this country as well. So in that case, you have to draw one PPC at first, given this data set that you need, because if you want to give answer of question number C, you have to draw the PPC. Then after, with that PPC, you on that PPC, you have to draw one L-shaped social indifference curve, because they are using fixed proportion. Okay, they are using the goods in fixed proportion. So the L-shaped one, and then that L-shaped one is intersecting your PPC, or not intersecting. It is a tangent on your PPC for a particular point that shows the order key terms of trade. When the terms of trade will improve, that means that that price line will be steeper. Then you will get higher social indifference curve. So this is how you can show that trade is benefiting that country. Draw this, because now I don't have the time to draw it, and I don't know how to draw here in this platform right now. Draw it. If you have any problem, when we will come back, we will discuss. Okay, I will share all those questions with you, so you will get those. Try to solve it. This is actually the university question, so you can understand which type of questions are coming in the university. So try to do it. If you are facing any problem, we will discuss. Yes. So I don't know why you are writing yes ma'am and no ma'am. Anyway. So for today, I have to say that much. So you are going to take a long break from your international economics. Use that break, because we have discussed a lot. We have discussed almost three, or we have discussed almost 3 units. So you have a lot of material with you. Try to repeat, try to revise your study, try to see the progress. And not only that, I have some books on international economics. I'm trying to take the snapshot of all those questions after, or the exercises after each of these unit, and that also I will share with you in our LMS. So you will get a lot of questions to practice. Okay. So have a nice time. No, I have to stop.